Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, given to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. Okay, so we have breaking news. There were gunshots, dozens of them at the White House, and supposedly the suspect has been killed by Secret Service. This is all so crazy. So let's get ready to get into it. But first, let's see who's in here. Nessa G, Leon, Michael M, Christopher. All right, let's get into a G from the land, political wins. Buckhorse DC, Sandra, Nessa G. All right. Shout out to all of my loyal royals. Hey, Pookie. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Quiet Storm. Chris B is in the virtual building. Chili Willie from Philly. All right. All Hell Nah is here. Original Pure Black. Okay, just anticipate. Let's get into it. Emperor Rex. All right. So, with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor and then we'll get started.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And please don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. This is all crazy. What is Trump up to? Now, this is a brief clip of one of the reporters that was outside doing a story, I guess, when she heard the gunshots.
That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart. That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
Okay, I don't know what is going on. Is this a real or what? Okay, now let's go to this next clip. Because remember, just the other day, they said there was a plot against his daughter, Ivanka Trump. I hadn't reported on that, but I'm sure you all heard about it.
What is that? What is that?
Sounds like fire.
Today, but this obviously comes just a couple of weeks after a shooting at the White House Correspondents'
And my question is, why was she just standing there looking around talking about what is that? Okay, I'm sorry, I would have been ducking and dodging, bobbing and weaving. But somebody said, Frank Nitty said another psyop. Exactly what I was thinking. I mean, when will the games end? Okay.
Good news. Reports of dozens of shots fired near the White House. The Secret Service clearing the White House north lawn. News reporters rushing inside, taking shelter in the briefing room. ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang, was outside when this all unfolded. And Selena, you are now back outside. You were taking shelter in the briefing room for a moment. But what are you learning about what happened?
Yeah, we were just allowed back outside. And actually, you can see I'm here on the north lawn. There's that gate for the White House. And right beyond it, you can see the law enforcement vans, the police vans with the flashing lights. That is 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. That is where Secret Service says they're aware of reports of shots being fired. We're also just hearing from FBI Director Kash Patel. He says that the FBI is on the scene and Secret Service is also responding to those shots fired near the White House grounds. He says he'll be updating the public as they're able to. Now, as you mentioned, we were actually just in our live shot position. You can see over there under the green tents, getting ready to tape for World News Tonight for this very show when suddenly we heard what sounded like dozens of gunshots fired. So we immediately got down. Then we heard yelling for us to evacuate into the press briefing room. So all of us in the White House press corps who were out here doing our evening news live shots, we all sprinted into the briefing room and were huddled there waiting to get updates. There was a Secret Service agent who was posted outside. So we were basically locked in, not able to leave. We were holed up there for about more than 30 minutes. And then eventually we were able to go safely back outside. But we are still awaiting more information about what exactly happened with.
Well, Selena, we are grateful you and the team.
First of all, I find it very interesting and quite frankly convenient that this all took place while reporters are there on the scene. Okay, that sounds very interesting to me. Okay, it's given, I don't know. Let's continue.
Of these doors on the north lawn, getting ready to tape something for your show, when myself and my cameraman John, we heard what sounded like 20 to 30 shots. At first we looked at each other and paused and said, what was that? And we actually have that on video. Watch this. What is that? What is that?
Sounds like fire.
today, but this obviously comes just a couple of weeks after a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Now, Jose, I ended up running after that happened. I saw a Secret Service agent come out of the security booth, guns drawn, telling all of us, the few of us who were out there, to run inside the press briefing room. You can see the White House is on lockdown. There's a Secret Service agent standing outside of the doors to the press briefing room with a gun. Again, it is unclear what happened, the current condition of the gunmen, but clearly the White House reacted swiftly. Secret Service locking down this building. It has been less than a month, Jose, since the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting happened. And of course, the White House is on high alert.
Something sounds very suspicious. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, let's go to this report. Several other reports we're going to go to. We got to figure this out and get to the bottom of it, folks.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's get to the breaking news. We've been following developments after the White House was temporarily on lockdown after a shooting happened nearby. Fox News' chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has been sending out updates. Here's his latest. He says the U.S. Secret Service says shortly after 6 p.m. on Saturday, an individual approached a Secret Service checkpoint in the area of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. A preliminary investigation indicates that as the individual approached, he removed a weapon from his bag and began firing at posted officers. Secret Service police officers returned fire, striking the suspect, who was transported to an area hospital where he later died. During the shooting, a bystander was also struck by gunfire. It remains unclear whether the bystander was struck by the suspect's initial gunfire or during the subsequent exchange of gunfire. No injuries were sustained by Secret Service personnel. The president was at the White House during the incident, but was not impacted. The incident remains under investigation, the Secret Service says. So, Chad Pergram with that statement from the U.S. Secret Service. Let's get to this live image of the scene. Let's pull up the audio on this for a moment.
You remember how it used to be? That's like a luxury of the 16, remember 16 predicate years. Then we had the TV, what is the name of the supplement? You plug it into the laptop and they beam it up with the satellite. Yeah, this is the yes.
Can you get off the road? Can you get out of the road?
Okay, so welcome back into Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. We do play out live raw feeds, and we wanted to give you a little bit of what we were seeing and hearing out there. We have multiple cameras around this developing situation. I want to check in with Fox 5 DC's Regina Ureta. You just saw her reporting on Fox 5's 8 p.m. news. We have her here with us as well. And Regina, I just want to ask you what you've been seeing out there.
Yeah, hey, Austin. Well, as you can see, just right behind me, still a very large police presence. We're here off of Pennsylvania Avenue and 18th Street. It's been like this for the past 3 hours since we got those reports that gunshots were fired outside of the White House. So we're seeing Secret Service, MPD, as well as the FBI. We do know that they've been coordinating together to get more details and confirmation about what exactly happened. And as you've sort of been reporting, we know that Fox News has talked about a little bit of what happened. And so we know that this all unfolded around 6 p.m. There was this individual who fired 3 shots outside of the White House. The Secret Service returned fire. Between that fire exchange, another bystander was hit. We know that that bystander, as well as the shooter, they both are in critical condition. We're trying to get more information about that as well. We also are currently monitoring social media. We do know that the FBI has been posting that they'll be trying to update the public as soon as they can. But I do want to mention we're just a few blocks away from the White House outside perimeter line. We know that shooter did not make it into that perimeter line. He did not go inside. It was right outside of the White House. But there is a lot of people who walk around there, tourists, residents. And so hearing those gunshots, we still don't know how many bystanders were there at that time, but definitely a very scary situation, very alarming for the people there, especially on Memorial Day weekend. This is a holiday weekend that, despite the weather, there's still a lot of people walking around this area. I also want to share that we do know that the President Donald Trump, was inside the White House at that time. Journalists were near the press pool briefing room. They were outside getting ready to go live when they heard those gunshots. Authorities immediately told the journalists to seek a shelter as they placed the White House on lockdown. Again, very limited information, but I'm just going to step out very quickly just to show you what it looks like here. We have law enforcement here off of 18th Street. Again, DC police as well as Secret Service and the FBI. We have other members of the media here as they continue to hear more developments. We are also trying to get more information, but
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here and go to this other report that I think is still live. Okay, this is just all very interesting if you ask me. All right, this is really crazy. I mean, how many attempts is there after this man and nobody ever gets hurt? I find it very interesting. Okay, so here we go. This is it right here. Okay.
No, I saw this one. If we're live and that's still going on, I'd love to go to the social. It's just a big. All right, let me run through it one time. Yeah, it's very much like that. See, we're about 1 block away from where Secret Service agents Johnny told him this afternoon. You can see all the here behind me. You see all the other numbers here behind me. Secret Service says a man approached a White House checkpoint. He reached into his bag, pulled out a gun, and then started firing at folks get off. So how do you understand the movement? For the generic, it's up to you, Ben. For the generic news, we just go straight to the video. If you haven't tried it that way, give me that shoulder. This way. Either I have you'll come this way. I'll go straight down that way. So you'll reference. Yeah. Oh, I'm good, thank you. You good? Yeah. You're all good, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. You're welcome.
I just got my first like You gotta be on the board at. Most people often like, what's all this light and sirens? Oh no. Listen, Andy speeds up. Very good. Very, very good. A little overpriced.
Yes.
What's the market? Yeah. I forgot about that. Good call.
Yeah, it's very much
like racing.
Outside the White House, where Secret Service just about you can see okay, ready? Ben, are you rolling? Yeah, let's go with it. Question, see how it goes. It is very much an okay, you want to give one a try? Go.
Okay, let's go back to the other report. Hold on, beloved.
This is just, again, a month from the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident where something very similar, journalists also heard gunshots right outside of that dinner. So to know that, journalists were here again, and as our jobs, we just go on live and continue to report the news, and we're trying to get more information for you and share it to the public. Austin?
Regina, have you had a chance to speak with witnesses? As you mentioned, lots and lots of tourists around there. Have you had a chance to speak with any?
Witnesses, we are trying to get people here, but really the individuals that we've run into, they seem to be just tourists who got here in the aftermath and are asking the same type of questions. We are trying to change locations, but as I'm telling you, basically 17th, 18th, and 16th Street, all of these areas are blocked off. Police have placed a perimeter line, so we can't get much further than where we're at right now. But as soon as we get any witnesses or anybody who can get more details, if they were near those gunshots, if they heard it, of course, we want to talk to those people and get more details of what might have unfolded just around that time.
And have you heard of a press conference scheduled tonight at all?
No, we are working, and I know that our newsroom is working diligently to get those answers. We know that on social media, Secret Service had mentioned that they confirmed those reports. We also know that the FBI director, Kash Patel, he also said that as soon as he gets a chance, he will be updating the public on what happened. So we're waiting for those details.
Appreciate you, Regina. Thanks. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep an eye on all of these live feeds. We thank Regina and we thank Fox 5 DC for their coverage. We'll see if we can dip back into their news later on in the evening. Regina doing a great job out there getting the facts. Continuing to watch this police scene develop. There have not been a whole lot of major movements that we've seen on any of these cameras. As we've been mentioning, it's been getting darker and darker, and so the visibility is going to get worse and worse. The lockdown has been lifted, and that's kind of what happens here sometimes, by the way. We had reporting from Chad Pergram that the suspect has died. He died at the hospital. Fox 5 and Regina, that's a completely different news gathering team. So we just wanted to make it clear. We're hearing from Chad Pergram that the suspect had died in this situation after that suspect was brought to the hospital. And why you heard Fox 5 on their end and their reporting, they said that the two people that were shot were injured. So just want to make that distinction. There's two different channels there, and that's why you're hearing slightly different details coming from both of those for now. As time moves on, presumably we will get some sort of official update from police, and it'll shore up some of those facts. Let's slide away for a quick commercial break. I believe we're working on getting some new reporting in from Fox News. We'll bring that to you in about 2 minutes.
All right, so what do you guys think? I'm inclined to think it's all a load of BS because here's the thing. Take a look at this video clip that a TikToker did. How did they have time to be worried about cropping out something if it was so serious? Just my question.
They was just shooting at the White House, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want y'all to look at the first video that they posted of this lady and look at that door. Look how nasty that door looks. Okay, you're in the White House, y'all. Why the next post immediately after was them zoomed in and they cropped out the door? I don't know why this is so funny to me. And not only that, but there was a lot of comments in there too, like, it looks like a green screen, it looks fake. Y'all, why did they zoom in on that too and cropped out the White House in the background? This is so funny to me. Nobody gives a fuck that someone just let off 30 shots at the White House. All anyone cares about is the fact that how the fuck are y'all going under $1 billion renovations and your door looks like that? Are y'all in a trap house right now? And I know what the burning question is right now, and unfortunately, no, just another false flag. So don't get too excited. But that was fucking hilarious.
White House on 14.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, if this is so serious, why would anyone be concerned or even thinking about cropping out a dirty arse door? Frank Nitty said PSYOP Saturday. Let's go back to the live report. Hold on, I'm trying to grab you all some more receipts. Above on that drama said, is she Chinese Negro? What the heck is that? Leon said it's a TV show. Somebody else said it looked like a movie scene. This is all crazy.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Okay. I just called her. Let me call her. I'm talking to Zeke and all over Deputy Bureau Chief. So, they also, the room will say this guy is the same guy who jumped on Benson. So they're sending me home so that I can go out in the morning. You got anything else you think I ought to be doing? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, bro. Thank you. That's about it. Wait. Is that you? Yeah, I've been to China twice. Before you were born. 86 and 87. Just barely. Just barely. You look very well. Emily, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, that's so awesome. Vice versa. I mean, fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for the trash bag. Cheers. Now we can sit there.
No, I mean, having pulled her last night, I'm hoping the swimming to last night. I don't think we're like hell. I fully agree.
Nothing's changed as far as what's on the ground.
No, they're not true. That's right. It's already covered.
You should just go with it.
And we've already broken into the program.
So Alex is with me.
Okay, beloveds, we're gonna go to what some TikTokers are saying, just to get other people's thoughts on the situation. As it currently stands, it seems like people are just not buying what they're selling. Okay, I'm inclined to think that it is in fact PSYOP Saturday. Let's get into it.
Isn't this interesting? My only question is how. I've been to this place and it's probably one of, if not the most secure locations on the planet, minus access to the grounds. How? Probably just another one of those, hey, look over here, don't look over here things, you know, the most fuck shit circus in history. I think the Neanderthals were smarter. I really do. It's like a poorly scripted television show. You thought reality TV was bad. Wait till you get a load of this.
She said, if you thought reality TV was bad, where do you get a load of this ish? I am through. Hold on, next clip.
This evening, shots were fired near the White House complex, triggering a lockdown at the White House. President Trump was inside. Reporters were rushed inside as well to safety. Emphasis on the near. The shooting was not inside the White House complex. According to Fox News' Chad Pergam, the shooting occurred near the White House on 14th Street, or near that side. The lockdown has since been lifted. The FBI is on the scene, as is Secret Service. We don't know what exactly happened, whether anyone was impacted by the shooting, whether or not anyone is dead or injured. We don't know. I want to emphasize again, there was not a shooter in.
Okay, Aaron, you're sounding boring today. Let me move on to the next. Hold on, beloveds. Here we go. This is all a hot mess.
shoot a bunch of guns over by the White House again, because as reporters and media gathered on the north lawn of the White House, they reported hearing 20 to 30 gunshots nearby. In fact, Selena Wang, who's a senior White House correspondent for ABC, recorded a video, and while she was recording it, it captured the moment happening. Check this out.
That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
No.
Now, as a result of these gunshots, Secret Service agents quickly responded by locking down the White House, and then counter snipers were seen taking positions on the White House roof. The FBI is currently supporting the Secret Service investigating the situation, and as far as I know, the White House still remains locked down currently. According to reports, there are 2 gunshot victims that have been reported, and one's believed to be the suspect that was taken down by Secret Service, while another person is a possible bystander. And the incident was described as somebody who just started firing shots at the White House, where Secret Service engaged that armed individual as a response. Well, it looks like somebody decided to shoot a bunch of guns over by the White House.
I don't know, guys. I'm reading the comments from these people, and many people are saying they don't believe it. Okay, many people are just saying they're not buying it. And I find it, what makes it so interesting to me is that why are all these reporters there conveniently when this happens? Okay, make that make sense.
Holy shit. Is he gone? I bet he found out that there were more assassination attempts on Obama. So he's faking up some more so that he can be better than Obama, because that's all he can think about. Obama. Maybe he just couldn't take being him anymore. Maybe he just decided to end it all. The Secret Service wouldn't let him have a firearm in the White House, would they? Maybe it's the Ides of March. At 2 Secret Service, eh? Why is no one reporting if he made it or not? Ooh. What if Melania Erica Kirked him? Okay, this is fucking ridiculous. I have a playlist to start, things to cook, a celebration to be had if it happened. Tell me if he made it or not. White House reports the issue is contained in a casket.
In a casket. There was an early report that the shooter died. Yeah, I said that at the beginning. He is supposedly dead, died at the hospital, beloved. This is all hilarious.
Here is everything we know about the White House shooting. It was around 6 p.m. today, where about 15 to 20 gunshots had rang out.
Hold on, I'm trying to scroll this.
Here is everything we know about the White House shooting. It was around 6 p.m. today, where about 15 to 20 gunshots had rang out. The suspect was on the corner of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. That's just around the corner of where the White House is. According to the reports, the suspect fired at what looks to be a police booth. Secret Service then turned around and fired back at the suspect. There are 2 people injured at this time, one being the suspect and the other being a bystander. Now, these shots rang out. Those who were inside the vicinity of the White House grounds were then put into the briefing room. The president himself was in the Oval Office. It was sort of like on the other side, so he was safe. We aren't getting too many updates about exactly what happened here. We are told that the suspect is at the hospital. Their condition is unknown. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, did put a statement online, but it's very brief, stating the FBI is on the scene and supporting the Secret Service, responding to shots fired near the White House grounds. We'll update to the public when we're able, and that's been roughly about 45 minutes ago, and we haven't heard anything yet. I'll be sure to keep you guys up.
D Major said reporter understood the assignment allegedly. Okay, she was scrambling, wasn't she? This is all so crazy. I don't believe a word of it is all I'm saying, okay? And D Major, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. I don't believe it. I'm going to go to that Ivanka report after this. Ivanka. Now look at them looking so serious.
There are reports that a gunman approached a Secret Service agent outside the perimeter of the White House near a gate, an entryway to the White House. It's understood that that suspect has fired, that they have exchanged gunfire with the Secret Service agent, and the agent has taken the gunman down, and they're now taken into custody. But it's understood amongst all this, a second person was shot, an innocent bystander. This gunfire echoed out across the White House grounds. Reporters say they heard dozens of shots fired, and that is what sent the White House into lockdown, because we know US President Donald Trump is inside the White House today. He's spending the weekend in Washington. Reporters and cameramen were ushered into a White House briefing room to shelter while Secret Service agents made sure the area was safe. The FBI is now on the ground as the investigation gets underway. But Lizzie, at this stage, we do not know about the condition of the suspect. And
so the suspect is supposedly dead, and the innocent bystander, I do believe, is in critical condition. And they don't know who shot the bystander. Was it the gunman, or was it when the exchange of fire began?
Standing here at the live shot on our White House North Lawn location when I heard the 20 to 30 gunshots that were about a block or two away from where I'm standing right now. We have since learned, according to law enforcement sources, that there was a shooter that was targeting a booth, a security booth of Secret Service. There is a checkpoint near where the shooting happened, where there are Secret Service officers, Secret Service cars, barricades. And our understanding, according to the U.S. Secret Service and law enforcement sources, is that Secret Service returned fire to the suspect and has killed the suspect. We also know that potentially a bystander was also shot. It's unclear if that's from Secret Service or the initial shooter. Again, a lot of the details are still fluid. President Trump was at the White House during this. We don't know specifically what room he was in, though our understanding is that the White House staff are okay at this moment. We do know that the FBI quickly appeared on the scene. FBI Director Kash Patel put out a statement confirming that, and that no Secret Service officers were harmed by the fire. They were evaluated on the scene. They were not rushed to the hospital. And just quickly on the personal experience here, as soon as we ducked down, you could start to see Secret Service officers telling the press to run inside the White House press briefing room. From there, it was about 30 to 40, that there was a lockdown. Another 30 minutes after that we had to stay on the White House grounds until it was determined safe for us to even leave out a certain exit from the White House campus. But this shooting comes just weeks after the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where a lot of attention was paid to how Secret Service might adapt for events like that. And I'm sure similar discussions could be happening after today's shooting, right at the first line of defense for security at the White House campus. I was standing here at the live shot on our White House North Lawn location.
Okay, I don't know what to say. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not buying it. But now let's go to this story where they were talking about Ivanka Trump had a credible threat, supposedly, just days ago. Okay, so first of all, let's get this straight. This is like what? What number are we on now, guys? What number are we on now? Is this like the fourth attempt, right? This should be like the fourth attempt at this point. And then we have Ivanka, so that's 5. Okay, and then they said something about a synagogue and all of that the same day they said something about Ivanka. So, I mean, I just find this all very interesting because all of these attempts and nobody made any leeway. Okay, please make it all make sense. Are y'all buying what they're selling? Because I am absolutely not. This is all just coming off as clout chasing and trying to push a narrative. He really wants that ballroom. Okay, that's what I think. And this is what you call oversaturated. Okay, this is what you call oversaturated. Like, how many attempts does one person have, okay, on themselves?
Build a ballroom. Just build a ballroom. Please build a ballroom. He just wants peace. He solved 88 wars in a year. He founded the Board of Peace. Why would you want to do anything to him? Our big, beautiful boy. Build a ballroom with a 6-story military complex, complete with a hospital under the ground. Please. We need it now. Please. Tens of billions. Just all the contractors. Just build it now. Please.
Okay, that's exactly what it's given. Like desperate for the ballroom. Okay, now let's go to this report about Ivanka's targeting. So they say. Hold on, can you all hear this? Because I don't hear him saying anything. Can you all hear him? It's turned up as loud as it'll go, but I don't hear anything. Can you all hear the audio, beloveds? You said no? No sound? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Why we can't hear the sound? Hold on. Let me stop the share. Let me see something real quick. Hold on, give me just a second. Okay, now the volume's playing. I don't know what happened. Okay, so let's go back.
Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, has been foiled. An Iraqi national allegedly trained by Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has been arrested for plotting the killing, reportedly as revenge for the 2020 U.S. drone strike that killed Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. U.S. authorities have uncovered an alleged Iran-linked assassination plot targeting Ivanka. According to multiple media reports, the suspect is a 32-year-old Iraqi national identified as Mohammed Bakr Saad Dawood al-Saadi. Investigators say he was trained by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, and are linked to the Iran-backed militia Kataib Hezbollah. Officials say the suspect wanted to avenge the 2020 U.S. drone strike in Baghdad that killed top Iranian military commander Soleimani, an operation carried out during Donald Trump's presidency. Reports claim al-Saadi considered Soleimani his mentor and had vowed revenge against the Trump family. According to investigators, the suspect allegedly gathered blueprints and surveillance details related to Ivanka Trump's residence in Florida. Authorities say he also issued threats online and was allegedly connected to a wider terror network accused of attacks targeting American and Jewish interests across Europe and North America. The suspect was reportedly arrested in Turkey early this month before being extradited to the U.S. He is now facing terrorism-related charges in a federal court. U.S. officials have not publicly commented on the full extent of the alleged plot, but the case is expected to intensify tensions between Washington and Tehran amid already strained relations in the region. The alleged plot has once again highlighted concerns over Iran-linked proxy networks and threats against high-profile American figures linked to past U.S. military operations in the region.
Okay, I don't buy any of this. The whole thing with Ivanka, I think that Jared Kushner likely told them to do that because Ivanka's his wife. Okay, at the end of the day, and I just think that is just all concocted schemes and shenanigans. Okay, it's just so ridiculous because first of all, with the whole situation with Ivanka, you mean to tell me this person was plotting all this and wrote everything down and y'all conveniently found all of the information? Like, please. And then notice how they conveniently said that the person who did the threats was trained by Iran's RIGC. Okay?
On this, Siddhant, give us more detail. What exactly is the IRGC terrorist saying at this point?
Well, that's right. So this story has been published by New York Post, Sharon, and this story says that the first daughter, Ivanka Trump, was targeted for assassination by an Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps trained terrorist in a twisted plot to avenge the president taking out his mentor. Recently captured Mohammed Bagher Saad Dawood al-Saadi, 32, made a pledge to kill Ivanka and even had a blueprint of her Florida home. That's what sources claim. The Iraqi national was allegedly targeting President Donald Trump's family in response to the killing of Iranian military chief Qasem Soleimani in a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad 6 years ago. This was in Trump 1.0. In fact, after Qasem
D Major says, what do they actually gain from faking this? Beloved, if you don't know, then you just don't know. Thank you for the contribution, though. Measure Man says, headed to bed, LOL, windmilling in 6 pieces on X. They lying. Okay, one of the companies that used to work our social media is doing propaganda for MAGA, exposing them tomorrow. Fired them 2 years ago. Good night. Thank you for that information, beloved, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, love, and blessings.
Soleimani was killed, Al-Sadi went around telling people we would need to kill Ivanka to burn down the house of Trump the way he burned down our house, etc., etc. All those things have been reported. So again, it raises concern about President Trump and his family's security. In fact, he himself was attacked several times in the run-up to the elections, and the recent one at the Washington Hilton hotel event, and now this report perhaps telling us about how the top target is could now be Ivanka Trump.
Okay, you got a very heavy accent. Now, with that all being said, D Major says, Queen, that was a serious question. Don't do that. I know it was a serious question, beloved, and that's the problem. I would have felt better if you were not serious. Because what do you mean? What do they stand to gain? Honey, don't you see all the shit that Trump is in? Don't you see that he can't come to a negotiation with Iran? Don't you see that all of this is just a distraction? This is to gain sympathy and empathy, to make us feel like somebody's actually trying to take him out of here. That's what they would benefit if they are lying, which I absolutely think they are, and so do most of us. And I would think that it's obvious to see, beloved. You don't think that Trump is trying to, put all this BS out there to distract us, to keep us from going in on him? Because everybody is turning against him, the NATO allies. Okay, everybody. Many of his MAGA minions have even walked away. Sure, but who would actually have sympathy? Listen, whether we would have sympathy or not, he doesn't know that. He's likely grasping at straws and hoping that somebody will. And trust me, there are some people who feel sorry for him. You sound like one from asking that question, in my opinion. Okay, but at the end of the day, I don't believe any of this. What does anyone gain from telling a lie? Well, they gain the satisfaction of not having to be exposed. All right? Covering up something. Allegedly. I mean, that's just what it's given. I don't believe a word of it. And at the end of the day, he would stand to gain possible empathy and sympathy, a return of friendship with his NATO allies, because if people think they're trying to take him out, I mean, hey, and then now he's claiming that they're targeting his family. Now, why would he want to cover for his family? Well, let's talk about it. Just the other day, didn't he come out with this agreement with the IRS that he was trying to get for the IRS to basically give him $1.8 million, if I'm not mistaken? That's the amount to give to those January 6th rioters. And also in that, he included in the paperwork, they supposedly said, that he wanted his family, he himself and his family, to never be audited by the IRS. So everybody started going in on him and talking trash. So now he's trying to bring the family into it. This is just my opinion. I can't substantiate it, but I believe he's trying to bring the family into it. Billion. Thank you, Nene. That's what I meant. But I believe he's trying to bring his family in it so that people will feel sorry. Okay. And so we won't be talking about how they're all grifting and have been grifting the entire time this war's been going on since February the 28th of 2026, and how we won't be worried about the fact that they're making all of this money over there in the Middle East at the same time. Okay. So we won't be worried about how he's destroying the economy from the inside out. I'm just saying, there's a lot of reasons that he would stand to gain if people fell for the bullshit, but nobody's falling for it if they have sense. And I already told you all weeks ago, how many times have I told you all there was going to be a false flag? And that's what these things are, if you ask me. BB said victimhood. Exactly. Playing the victim, trying to gain sympathy. It's no different than when BB does it. It's no different than when Satan Yahoo does it. That's where he likely learned it from, because he wasn't doing all these shenanigans his first term. But now that he's got this war going on, this illegal war, now that he's committed war crimes, he's got all this BS going on. And think about it. Tulsi Gabbard, okay, we just reported today that she supposedly resigned. But now they're saying the excuse that she gave for resigning is not even true, which I didn't believe that in the first place, because it was no coincidence that she resigns days after her office is raided by the CIA. So there's a whole lot of BS going on as far as I'm concerned. But let's go to this next clip where Ben Rhodes talks about we've now gone from tragedy to farce on failed U.S. Iran regime plot. Now, this is what I was going to show you all tomorrow, but since we're here now, let's go ahead and get into it. And then after this, I'm out of here because I have to come back tomorrow. Now, once in the chat, listen closely. That's right. Tara Wolf said all of these demons are being exposed. Now, listen. Here's the thing. Once in the chat, okay, Darlene says fake news, in my opinion. Trump, your time is up, in my opinion. Okay, I believe it's fake news too, beloved. Now, here's the thing. You all put a 1 in the chat if you all want me to talk about Tasha K's husband being sued by Cardi B and the possibility of both of them going to jail and her husband possibly even being deported. Once in the chat if you all want to hear about that tomorrow. Meanwhile, let me pull this up because I have the lawsuit paperwork. I have the receipts, and it's all juicy and nefarious. Okay, so we'll talk about that in the morning then.
I speak words for a living, but I'm having real trouble conjuring adjectives for this next story. Fantastical, absurd, mind-melting. Remember in the early days of the war with Iran when President Trump publicly mused about, quote, someone from within taking over Iran's government after the Ayatollah and other officials were killed?
First of all, not that he said mind-melting. This is absolutely nefarious, okay?
Well, there's a new report from the New York Times that reveals that Trump and Israel apparently had a very specific someone in mind, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Yes, that.
Juju says, yep, because I'm going to be on retard. Don't put that word up there, please. Okay, that's a word I had to edit out earlier. Okay, but with that all been said, Juju, let me just tell you this. I already talked to you the last time I did a story on Tasha K and Cardi B. I'm not going to tell you again. I told you were causing distractions in the chat. Whatever you think about Cardi B is your business. So keep that to yourself. You're not going to be in my chat tomorrow causing disruptions, beloved, just so you know. And in matter of fact, why don't you just not tune in? Okay, because if you don't like Cardi B, you shouldn't even want to see the broadcast. All right, so I'm not going to have it. You're not going to be in here with all that bullshit you had last time, and I already called you and talked to you about it, so we're not going to have it going on again. Thank you. Now let's continue. I don't like disruptions in my chat when I'm doing a serious topic.
Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the former Iranian president known for his virulent anti-Israel and anti-American views, who spent his tenure from 2005 to 2013 denying the Holocaust and fast-tracking Iran's nuclear program. The two things, by the way, that those two countries seem to have a big problem with. The man who was lampooned on Saturday Night Live after saying that there were no gay people in his country. That guy. That's the guy they thought should go back and run Iran. According to the New York Times, this story gets much better, by the way. On the very first day of the war, Israel conducted an airstrike on Ahmadinejad's home in an effort to free him from house arrest so that he could eventually be put into power. Now, a small aside here. If you're ever part of a plan to free me from house arrest so that I can take control of something, please don't authorize a strike on my home. Here's how the operation unraveled, according to the Times. Quote, the audacious plan developed by the Israelis and which Mr. Ahmadinejad had been consulted about quickly went awry, according to the U.S. officials who were briefed on it. Mr. Ahmadinejad was injured on the war's first day by an Israeli strike at his home in Tehran that had been designed to free him from house arrest, the American officials and an associate of Mr. Ahmadinejad said. He survived the strike, they said, but after the near miss, he became disillusioned with the regime change plan, end quote.
He did.
Smart founders know something.
But he did become disillusioned. They almost took him up out of here, sent him to the spiritual realm. Now, Lieutenant Muxman says, Queen Ahmadiyyah, how many attempts on Trump's life do you feel are suspicious? All of them? Yes, absolutely. Every last one. Every last one, beloved, okay? Every single one. And it just all seems like stunt people and just acting and all of that. Bad acting, mind you, but acting nonetheless.
After the near miss, he became disillusioned by the regime change plan. Are you kidding me? Of course he became disillusioned. They nearly killed him. Ahmadinejad has not been seen, by the way, since, and his current condition is unknown. While this was reportedly a plan that was developed by the Israelis, whom Ahmadinejad spent much of his career railing against, the U.S., against whom Ahmadinejad spent much of his career railing against, signed off on it. Though the New York Times says it was a plan that, quote, even some of Mr. Trump's aides found implausible. In response to the reporting on the plan, the White House spokesperson Anna Kelly told the Times, quote, from the outset, President Trump was clear about his goals for Operation Epic Fury: destroy Iran's ballistic missiles, dismantle their production facilities, sink their navy, and weaken their proxy. The United States military met or exceeded all of its objectives, and now our negotiators are working to make a deal that would end Iran's nuclear capabilities for good, end quote.
D Major said, didn't you say that you had a dream? I had two dreams. Okay, I had two dreams back in 2020. I told you all this 6 years ago. Now, in the dreams, like I told you all, Trump was, there was a shooter, the first dream, and the Secret Service was involved. Now, the funny thing is, at the first a supposed assassination attempt, which I do believe was fake, okay, because remember he had the patch on his ear, and then one day he had it on the other ear. So we're like, okay, Trump, please. But remember, in that first attempt, they blamed the Secret Service, and the Secret Service director resigned. So that is what my dream was. The only difference is, in my dream, I didn't know it was a fake assassination attempt, but I nevertheless told you all that I had dreams about Trump being assassinated. Now, in one of the dreams, he was clearly dead. Okay, he was clearly dead. So that's just what it is. Now, maybe I misinterpreted the dream, but I told you all of this 6 years ago before any of it ever happened. So my dreams are absolutely accurate. Maybe I didn't interpret it correctly, but I really do think that Trump's going to be out of here. That's just what I think. Now let's continue.
Which doesn't really address the whole Ahmadinejad thing. At the end of the day, it looks like the architects of this war have launched thousands of strikes, depleted our munition stockpiles, alienated allies, upended global energy markets, and somehow managed to leave Iran with an arguably more hardline regime than it had before this war started. And apparently the plan was not for a new Middle East, but for a 2006 rerun with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
Okay, this man is going in passive aggressively, and I love it. But here's the thing, okay? Hold on, Michael M. I got to get to you. Measure Man said it's a cardiologist on X2 that says, based on how Donald Trump he either has congestive heart failure or he's on dialysis, kidney failure. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think that he's on dialysis. But however, he could possibly have congestive heart failure. Whatever he has going on is something very serious, in my opinion, because he's had at least 3 MRIs in 1 year. And that's very problematic if someone's having that many MRIs, because that means that there's a condition that is likely being monitored. You see, you have an MRI to check and see what's going on with someone. And if there's nothing going on, you don't need another MRI. But if there is something going on, specifically something serious, you would have to have multiple MRIs, because the doctor would want to watch the situation, to monitor it, to see how it's progressing, or if it's progressing. Maybe it's not, maybe it's staying where it was. For example, if he had like a pulmonary aneurysm per se, those can start off small, but they progressively get larger and larger. And so a doctor, specifically a cardiologist, they would continue to have MRIs done on that, you know, maybe once or even twice a year. It just depends on the severity of it, because the bigger it gets, the more likely it is going to erupt. And if it erupts, there is like a 40% chance that of it being fatal. So doctors want to keep an eye on things like that. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, Mesa says, do you think it's far-gone dementia? Well, I think it is possibly dementia. I've said this before, but I don't think it's far gone. I think it's the beginning stages of frontal temporal dementia. And I think that he's probably been taking this medication called Leqembi, which I told you all about before, because some of the symptoms he exhibits, in my opinion, seem to mimic that. Okay, now let's continue.
For more on this, I'm joined by Ben Rhodes, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Barack Obama. He's an MS Now political national security analyst. He's the co-host of Pod Save the World and author of the book After the Fall, The Rise of Authoritarianism in the World That We've Made. Ben, I only say all of this stuff about Ahmadinejad to underscore the degree to which there doesn't look like there was a very good plan for this war at all.
No, I mean, we've now gone from tragedy to farce, Ali, with this latest report. Look, they can post facto spin in those statements like the one you showed. They clearly were launching a regime change war. That was what Bibi Netanyahu was pitching Trump on in the Situation Room, also reported by the New York Times. That's what Trump said from Mar-a-Lago the night that this war launched, when he said he wanted the Iranian people to rise up. The idea that we did all this to weaken the Iranian Navy is absurd. And look, the idea that we were going to somehow, I mean, even Israel's 1,000 miles from Iran. The idea that we're going to engineer Iranian politics with like precision airstrikes and a series of assassinations, it's so incompetent, it's so hubristic that it's hard to get your mind around it. Like, how exactly is this going to work? That Ahmadinejad, who's already been on the outs with the regime, he's not an insider anymore, was already under some form of house arrest based on reports that he was just going to somehow emerge as people around him are being assassinated and as his country is going to be bombed, and become the leader of Iran and somehow become the Delcy Rodriguez figure, the person who's now running Venezuela. It shows you that you know, it's bad enough that these people you know, think that illegal wars are a tool of statecraft in Washington and Tel Aviv, but the fact that they actually believed that they could engineer this, it's truly frightening.
Because the U.S. has been involved in regime change in the past, and sometimes you at least thought went into it, right? That, okay, we're going to put this person in, and they've got some base of support, and they're whatever, they're Western friendly or whatever the case is. And you can find some of those people probably.
My question is, why would they want Ahmadinejad to be back in power? He doesn't even like any of them. Okay, specifically, is not real. He talked plenty of trash about them. So I'm just wondering what's going on with that. Did they make some kind of backdoor deal with him? Okay, this is all crazy. Measure Man says dementia makes you constantly flirt with men. I'm just saying, he did again last weekend at Coast Guard graduation, said they had thick legs. Did he really say that, Measure Man? Because that's hilarious. Oh my goodness, not thick legs. What does Melania think when he says this kind of weird stuff? Let's continue.
A lot of them in Iran. There are a lot of people in Iran who are Western-facing, Western-educated, Western. Ahmadinejad was not that guy. He was a deeply anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, anti-American guy who was not thought of as all that effective and very, very hard line. Like, this is why would he be your choice? I don't know what that list should look like. There might be 10 people on a list of who you'd support, but the idea that they would think that this is the guy makes me worry, because both Israel and America would actually know better.
They should know better. I mean, I think that the fact is, like, he's a populist inside of Iran with some base of support. He's performative in his anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism. And there's some reporting that, you know, that Israel was cultivating him over the years. But look, the reality is this just fundamentally misjudges Iran. Because, first of all, this is a country of 94 million people, and it's a 5,000-year-old civilization. So the idea that you can just kind of move some puzzle pieces around and pick a new leader, it flies in the face of understanding how this regime works, that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the RGC, the hardest core element of the regime, is the deepest. They're the ones with real power, and they're not just going to like roll over and let Ahmadinejad take over the country. And it also kind of underestimates Iranian nationalism, that people don't want to just be bombed by other countries and told that the guy that was president 20 years ago is now going to come back and make deals with us. So it's just, it's a degree of incompetence that should be like really, really alarming to people, because I think sometimes we think, well, maybe the Israelis understand this region. They understand how to kill people and how to disrupt and destroy certain networks, right? They can blow up a bunch of Hezbollah operatives with pagers. They can assassinate leaders. That doesn't mean that you know how to build a regime.
Building's complicated.
Behind it. Yeah.
Building's hard. So speaking of which, I need to pivot to Cuba, because every couple of weeks something else happens. The United States has now indicted Raul Castro. I don't know whether that means that's a precursor to what we saw with Maduro, where at some point there'll be this quasi-military operation going into Cuba. Cuba's run out of oil. America let that one ship in, I guess, a month ago. They've run out of oil. They're in almost a permanent state of blackout. What's your sense of what's happening with Cuba?
It certainly feels like they're preparing some kind of operation. Americans should know that we are starving Cubans to death. The sanctions and blockade is causing power outages that cause hospitals to go offline, that are leading to malnutrition. So there's a moral component here too. But if you look at the policy pieces that they're assembling, there's a significant mass of military force being established in the Caribbean. There's now this pretext of an indictment of Raul Castro for something. Let's just be clear. We just indicted a 94-year-old man who is no longer the president of the country for something that happened over 30 years ago, which just feels like some reason to do something. Now, I don't think it makes us tough, strong, or some kind of confident superpower to potentially send a bunch of special forces to Cuba to arrest a 94-year-old man after starving its population for no discernible national security reason that anybody can articulate. But it certainly feels like something is coming here with respect to Cuba. And it's insane that we're having this conversation, Ali. In the calendar year of 2026, we have launched an illegal military operation against Venezuela. We've launched an illegal war against Iran, and we now be preparing to launch another illegal military operation against Cuba. This is not normal, and we need to kind of keep that in mind.
And I've spoken to you a lot because you were in the administration that was involved in the Iran nuclear deal, which God can imagine if we had such a deal today. But you were also very involved with starting to try and figure out how to normalize our relationships with Cuba. So you know that too, and that is also it's got complexity to it, right? This administration likes to think you can drop some people from helicopters and solve problems, that it would like the win probably of maybe arresting Raul Castro because it'll distract from Iran. But even Cuba is more complicated than this administration would have you believe.
Yeah, I mean, I negotiated the normalization with Cuba. I spent a lot of time with Raul Castro personally as part of that process. And part of actually what I determined, it's complicated in the sense that no regime is a monolithic entity, right? Sometimes we look at these, they're all the same. They're all Iranian theocrats, or the Cuban government. First of all, it's complicated because you have 70 years of history. It goes much deeper than even, obviously, the conflict with Venezuela or Iran in terms of the conflict between the United States and Cuba. Then you've got different power actors inside of Cuba, some of whom are pragmatic and were very open to opening up their economy. Frankly, it's U.S. sanctions that prevents them from doing that. But then you've got hardliners and military people in Cuba that'll just want to hang on to whatever their piece of the pie is. And then you've got a desperate population. And so you could try to do this. The place could implode. Kind of on the order of what we see in a place like Haiti, when then have mass migration into the United States and kind of violence. It could hold together, but if it holds together, it's probably going to hold together under some version of the existing regime. And so just removing somebody and doing some real estate deals down there, which is what they might do, isn't going to make the human rights picture in Cuba appreciably better either.
Ben, thanks as always. My appreciation for your time. Ben Rhodes, former Deputy National Security Advisor.
You know, this is absolutely so sad, heartbreaking, and just inhumane. The fact that they're starving Cuba, they're literally starving these people to death as the world watches, and no one is doing anything. Trump is no better than Satan Yahoo. Okay? Absolutely no better than Satan Yahoo. Now let's go to this last report about Cuba, and then we're out of here. Okay, I was not going to show this, but we need to talk about this real quick. This is a report. It's only 6 minutes, and then we're out, I promise. Okay, this is absolutely so sad and egregious.
Years with rolling blackouts. They were always pretty common. But what we're seeing now is a whole new level of punishment. How is Cuba reacting to this pressure, the increased sanctions, and being cut off from fuel by the Trump administration?
Well, you know, the embargo has been going on for almost 7 decades, but this is the first time that Cuba is subjected to a total blockade, with the U.S. stopping oil tankers at sea. This is what the UN rapporteurs call energy starvation, because after the ousting of Maduro and the killing of the Ayatollah Khamenei, this is designated to be the last blow to force the Cuban government to negotiate at Trump's style from a position of weakness. And despite 3 rounds of negotiations, the Havana official posture is to publicly defiance, private negotiations, and massive survival. The population is completely exhausted.
You know, you talked about 7 decades of this from the United States, but never has it gotten to this level where it really not only dramatically affects lives in Cuba, but it really runs the risk of causing long-term health risk to people.
Absolutely. The healthcare consequences are probably one of the most dramatic. So, you know, in general, the population has to cannot get to work. They need to ride bicycle, walk long distances, cook on wood, even convert cars to run on charcoal. But in hospital, this is really dramatic, because more than 100,000 patients are waiting on surgeries that cannot happen. Children cannot go to school. The dialysis machines don't work. Incubators can run, and there is not even refrigeration for vaccine or pharmaceutical stuff. The scanners don't work. I think it's 37 out of the 78 they have in the country are broken. And the healthcare system has been always such a proud standard for Cuba.
Absolutely.
This is a large moral blow.
So talk more about the impact of fuel crisis on daily life, because even as of Friday, the price doubled, but all that is kind of atmospheric at this point because there is no oil. What is it going to take for other nations to stand up and say to the United States, you're really running the risk of leading to the deaths of many, many people? Clearly, you know, the United States has tried to change leadership in Cuba for such a long time, but never to this degree of punishment of people living on that island nation.
Absolutely. The humanitarian organizations are preparing for a large crisis, humanitarian crisis in the country and in the region, because right now there are more Cubans arriving to Brazil than Venezuelans, for instance, that were the ones suffering the last crisis and the last pressures from the U.S. Until this moment, China is keeping the lights on with particularly solar panels and batteries. Cuba is right now the fastest growing solar market in the world, with 49 new solar parks added only in the last year. And the Chinese solar exports to Cuba have gone from 5 million to 117 million in just 2 years.
So let's talk more about China and other nations. How significant is it going to be the role for international partners to come to the aid of Cuba right now?
Well, Cuba is quietly playing his cards, not only with the international community that is counting with their support, but also in negotiations with the U.S. It's playing a dance where it's always said it's open to negotiations, but on the basis of respect. And under certain it's a tension between the push of the U.S. and the resistance of Cuba where Raul Castro, 94 now,
Right.
doesn't want to live really.
Right. You know, I feel lucky. I've been to Cuba 9 or 10 times, and I was there when former President Obama was down, and that began the normalization of relations. Both countries opened up embassies once again, and there was so much hope. How did things turn so sour so quickly?
You're so right. Yeah, you saw then the best moment of Cuba, because really that opening from Barack Obama's government brought an incipient middle class in Cuba that it showed us a side of Cuba that we didn't see before for decades. And then, you know, that was the last year of Obama. The pandemic came, and Trump came back to power. Joe Biden didn't change the situation much, and Trump is doubling down.
You know,
and
Trump
this comes on top of many other pressures.
Right. Mercedes, Trump really fancies himself as a developer, and people may not know, I believe Cuba has more undeveloped coastline than any place on earth right now. Do you think that this is part of an effort by the Trump administration to try to get the United States in there to develop this area and do something with it that many people in the United States have wanted to do for so long?
Absolutely. Clearly, there is much more than geopolitical here in place. This is personal for the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio,
Right.
who is a Cuban American and have made his career on the embargo, and for Trump, who even at some point made an offer to Cuba when he was on top of Trump's organization to build a Trump Tower in Cuba, which obviously didn't happen. And there are many Cuban American exile claiming in Miami the properties that their family lost in the revolution.
Let me tell you all something in closing. Okay, this is absolutely heartbreaking and so nefarious. And when she said that people can't get their dialysis treatment, do you all realize how serious this stuff is? Because let me tell you something. For those of you who don't know, people go on dialysis when they have kidney failure. And if anyone stops their dialysis treatment or they can't get the treatment, they'll die within 1 to 3 weeks. It depends on their body size, the level of kidney function that remains, and their overall health. Okay? It's really awful. I mean, some people would die in just a few days. Now, and the thing is, it would be a very painful and uncomfortable death, because what would happen is in 1 to 3 days, patients would start to feel very tired, lethargic, fatigued. They would have a loss of appetite, and then they would start retaining fluid. And this is where the problem starts. They would start retaining fluid because you see the kidneys filter out fluids and toxins from the body. When they're not working, that's when you have to go on dialysis, so the machine does it for you. But if you can't get the machine done, okay, if you can't get the machine to do that for you, you can't get your treatment, then you start retaining all of this fluid. And then what happens is this fluid eventually creeps into your lungs. And that makes it very difficult to breathe. And then eventually you won't be able to breathe. And it feels like you're drowning, like you're being suffocated, like someone's holding something over your mouth and your nose. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? And that's in the 1st to 3rd day. Now, in days 4 through 10, fluids build up rapidly, often putting immense pressure on the lungs as well as the heart. You know, if the person hasn't passed away already, but it causes shortness of breath, neurological changes began, such as severe confusion, disorientation, and extreme lethargy. And then in the final days, as the person's on their way out, the body begins to shut down completely. The symptoms can include irregular breathing, unresponsiveness, and muscle twitching before death occurs. This is all so sad. I pray for these people. I absolutely pray for these people, because this is like really the worst case scenario. Trump is a low down, dirty devil. At the end of the day, what kind of person with an ounce of humanity within them could do something like this to human beings? Who could do that? Okay, this is so sad. Reggie says, my best friend in the world was in dialysis a few years before his gift of life. Okay. This is absolutely sad and heartbreaking. And I feel for these people. Everyone needs to be praying for them. Mesa says the America is embarrassing. I knew he was an ish when I saw him eat McDonald's. Okay? You know, you are what you eat, and we already know what they put in McDonald's, the same thing that they had in the Epstein files, allegedly. Okay, and so anyway, you know, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in, but please pray for the people of Cuba. All right, and I'm going to tell you all something. If you notice that the United States in general, they only attack countries with brown people. Do you all notice that? They only ever attack countries that have brown people in them. They've never attacked France. They've never attacked the UK. You know, they have never done these things. Denmark, Australia. And I'm not saying that they'd have a reason to, but I'm just telling you, I assure you they never would. Italy, none of these places, they always attack populations of non-white people. Okay? That's what they have always done. And it seems to me that the UN doesn't care, because why are they not doing anything? Why are they not interceding? Because my thing is, this is all illegal. It's an illegal war that has been waged against Iran. Look at the global economic decline it is causing already. And it's only going to get worse. Okay, it's only going to get worse. So with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this night. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay, and I will talk to you all again soon. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, because we're going to talk about Tasha K and her husband. This lawsuit is very serious. And I have the paperwork, so we're going to go through it, honey. This is not looking good for Tasha K. And the sad thing is, because like I told you all, I actually like Tasha K. I just don't like the fact that she never goes in on people who don't look like her. But this is very bad. I don't know why she didn't just take down those darn videos. Why didn't she just do it? But she doubled down. And now here's where she is. And, you know, I can assure you that she had no idea what this was going to cost her. This can cost her everything. And I absolutely believe that it is. So listen, I'm going to tell you all like this. I intend to go live tomorrow morning at between 11 and 11:30. Okay, between 11 and 11:30. So with that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Lieutenant Maxwell says, cuss for me tomorrow, my queen. You promise? Sir, why do you want me to curse? Okay, I try as hard as I can not to curse. All right, sit down somewhere. All right, sit down somewhere. Okay, so Mesa says Tasha's too prideful. She absolutely is. This has a lot to do with her ego. But you know, they say in the Bible, pride goeth before the fall. And she is falling right here and in real time. Okay, Lieutenant Maxwell said, I love it. And you. I love you too, beloved, with your nefarious self. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm out of here. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your night. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. This makes it in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got